Navy primed to make a run at 8-2 overall over the course of the fall. GiftTime gives us what makes them hot and cold next. If you want more rugby, check out D1ARugby.com. All the stats, scores, standing stories, and more from D1A College Rugby in one place. Check it out today. Welcome back. In the Mid-South, action not starting up for another couple of weeks here, but Navy on top after playing the most games this fall. Their conference losses were to Lindenwood and Life. That was Life's only conference game. Lindenwood also has a win over Davenport in there. Clemson at 24th in the country, but will be looking for a conference win. Arkansas State didn't play in the fall. They played Lindenwood here on February 8th. So we bring in now GiftTime, who's actually going to be the director of the HBCU Rugby Classic at the end of March 28th, 29th in Baton Rouge. So who better to talk about the Mid-South, as always. Gift, you're outside, but not as warm as usual there in Louisiana this time of year?
You know, look, it's one of those situations where we get this beautiful sun and it feels and looks so good, but it's so cold out here. And I feel like that is the theme of the Mid-South in general. So much heat comes out of this conference, but there's still so much that needs to be desired. And just to start off, we're going to talk about Navy coming right out the bat, entering into this.
Yeah, Navy played a lot in the fall, obviously a stacked fall schedule too. Coming out of that, 8-2 overall. What was your take on some of their matches?
You know, I looked at a few of Navy's matches, and I got to give him credit. Gavin Hickey has done a great job in putting these guys together. They're strong, great one-on-one tackling. And look, you got to talk about players that you want to pay attention to. Number 6, Jermaine Oliver, is an absolute beast. This guy does not get taken down on the first try or the second try. Usually it takes about 3 or 4 people before he goes down. And then on top of that, whenever he's on defense, this guy is flying all over the field. Here's where the cold comes into them. Navy can start to get a little bit ahead of themselves. Their aggression is nice until it gets them missing balls and getting sloppy on play. And when I talk about their defense being great one-on-one, I think a lot of times, despite the fact that they do have held teams back on scores, they have a hard time being able to stay as a single unit. And they can find themselves leaving a lot of gap spaces for teams to slash through.
Well, one of the teams that slashed through them a little bit was Life when they matched up in the fall there. Life winning that game 24-19. So Life obviously already, even though they didn't play as much, but it's a lot to be expected of them once again as the #1 team.
Absolutely. And look, I need to make sure I get this correct because I apologize for last time, but Colton Carriega has continued to be an absolute beast when it comes to the coaching of this team. Life University has replaced a lot of key players, again, going into this year. But once again, they are still a dominant force. We're talking about a team that moves just like a team. You see them on their defensive line, it's a completely straight line. Nobody moves out the way too much, and it's almost impossible to crash through it. And then after that, Coach Carriega making Brian Mutanga into the new captain for this year. And if you see Brian Mutanga on the field, he is something, it makes sense as to why he becomes a captain, because he is just a rock. Anytime you watch him play, it's a cool, steady motion of him moving across the field. You don't even think it's fast until you watch him and someone goes at him. He catches people in the air. I watched him against Navy just catch people in the air when they were trying to run by. But here's the cold of it all. Life University has the issue of being the 2-time defending champions, and the hardest thing to do when you're the 2-time defending champion is to make sure that you maintain your composure across the board. Obviously, Coach Carriega is going to have them disciplined, and like I said, a cooling force like Brian Mutanga is going to make sure that they stay disciplined, but it's still something to watch out, and you can see it sometimes in aggressive play whenever they go a little bit too much and they start to get sloppy with their ball handling. A lot of easy drop balls, something for them to watch out for, but overall, this Life University team is pretty much set to go again for another championship run.
The hot and cold from GiftTime, and I mean this in the best possible way from 20 degrees here in New England, Gift. Stay warm down there in Louisiana and whatever 40 degrees it is today, all right?
Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you soon, Gift. See ya.
Definitely.
As I mentioned when we brought Gift in, he's the director of the HBCU Rugby Classic and Music Festival. It's March 27th through March 29th in Baton Rouge. The first and only African American, and Caribbean cultural rugby event in the United States. Pretty cool. For more information, head to hbcurugbyclassic.com. We're going to wrap things up in just a moment here on This Week in College Rugby.